Bozdal has been confined in Rimen for far too long. He needs open fields to stretch and run. Instead, he is forced to walk crowded city streets.
Well, that's a pretty interesting introduction to the new expansion pack for ESO.
It's time to play some stuff!
Well, I've said all kinds of nice things about Elder Scrolls Online. I think it's about time I started backing up my words with some actions and showing you folks what's been going on in this game recently. So, welcome everybody to Play Some Schtuff. This is Jay, aka MultimediaJay, and we're going to do more than just run around this castle, I swear. But this is the Daggerfall Overlook. I took a break from the game, but left my subscription running, and because the so-called subscription ESO gives you free crowns every month, I was able to pick up the castle when I came back to the game. So, hey, that's cool and whatnot.
Yeah, this is my crib.
Well, anyways, one of them actually, I actually have a collection of various player housing that I've been picking up as I've been playing through this game, but I was able to pick this sucker up furnished. So, yay, I don't have to worry about where to place everything, and yeah, it comes with some furniture, and of course thrones, because it's a Breton castle and all that other cool stuff. So, yeah. So, ESO. What makes ESO special? Why is it my favorite MMO out of everything that's out there nowadays? For one thing, my involvement with the Elder Scrolls series goes all the way back to Elder Scrolls Morrowind. And what every Morrowind player was looking for years, actually, was a Morrowind-like experience online. And oh yeah, see? I get the nice footage earlier, and now it starts raining outside. Yeah, whatever, ZeniMax Online. Well, let's just head on out of here anyways. I basically have a crafting station so far over here tucked in the corner. Yay, blacksmithing. A couple of mounts that make noise every so often, but hey, let's head out of here and let's go ride around and do stuff. But ever since my Morrowind days, myself and a lot of other Morrowind players back in those days, we modded the heck out of Morrowind and very much made that game our own. And we always wished we could have some kind of online version of some sort. There were attempts at a multiplayer mod for local multiplayer, or LAN multiplayer, I should say. But there were some attempts at Morrowind multiplayer, and of course there was Oblivion and Skyrim. People wished that they could play those games online as well. And then finally we have ESO. When this game first launched, it was basically a WoW clone with Elder Scrolls trimmings on it, or an Elder Scrolls coat of paint. There was still an MMO underneath as we knew it at the time. But as things have developed in the MMO world, and the whole copying Blizzard thing is no longer what it used to be, some folks over at ZeniMax Online decided to introduce some Elder Scrolls components to ESO that made it more like its offline counterparts. So, for example, I can pretty much go anywhere in the world and do whatever at any time, which I'm about to do right now to get away from this darn thunderstorm. But you can go anywhere in the world, do all kinds of stuff, and the content levels with you. It does kind of mess with the feel of player progression a bit because of the way stats work at lower levels. The curve isn't perfect, but and sometimes you may feel a little bit more powerful at the low levels because you have more raw stats as opposed to more abilities later in the game. But the fun part here is, hey, it's raining here. Let's go somewhere else. Let's go to Anvil. Who remembers Oblivion, right? Let's see if the weather here is any better. So the best thing is, in terms of what MMOs are supposed to be, basically live another life as a character in another world, ESO delivers this most notably it delivers this the best out of everything. Oh, it's raining here too. Let's try somewhere else. Let's go over to, yeah, there we go. We've been talking about Morrowind. Go to Seyda-Neen. Is it raining in Seyda-Neen too over in Vardenfell? Part of the expansion pack, of course, for Morrowind. But that's the thing with all of this, is that, you know, we've been looking for an Elder Scrolls-like experience, and now, of course, well, who cares? It's Elder Scrolls Online. It must be raining everywhere in Tamriel right now. Why don't we go to the actual elsewhere content and see if there's some issues, or see if it's any better there too. Darn it, when's it going to stop raining? You know, I go to record something and I get rain all over the place. Oh, look, rain in what's supposed to be a desert. I can't get away from the rain no matter what.
I like the rain and the trees, man.
So does this guy do anything, or is he just sit here complaining about, I want to run free? Yeah, of course, this go round with ESO, we're looking at Elsewhere, the home of the Khajiit. And if you know anything about your Elder Scrolls lore, the Khajiit that are playable are not the only Khajiit in the game. There's also four-legged Khajiit, and there's also house cat type Khajiit. It all depends on the phases of the moon when Khajiit are born as to what they evolve into.
Has been confined in Rimmon for far too long. He needs open fields.
Enough of that. So, what's the story with this character? Well, similar to, I keep forgetting that's been updated to try and help people get into combat a little better. If you click the mouse just to draw your weapon, you'll actually attack instead. Not very good if you don't have Prevent Attacking Innocence turned on, in terms of avoiding getting a crime or getting a bounty or something.
Oh, that person assaulted me.
Yeah. This game has the justice system now that the offline games had. Well, if it's going to be raining no matter where I go, let's save this desert for when I actually want to get to this content and let's go to Somerset. I mean, we just got done with this one heard you want to go back to Somerset because it's raining in the Khajiit Desert or something. Hey, the way shrine's not even written up. Oh, cool. Now Google thinks I'm talking to it. What a nice return to gaming videos, huh?
Eleanor.
New Disney Castle. Woo! Well, what exactly am I talking about again? Okay, so this main character that I use in these MMOs, Jason Goodmain, he's inspired by the Avatar from Ultima. And I'm not talking the Avatar movie, I'm talking the character in Ultima that's basically a Mad Lib representation of you in some respect. But there's some elements here, but over the years I've kind of turned this character into something a bit more fictitious anyways. So, it's raining here in High Elf Land too. What? Do I need to go to Artaeum where the weather is always morning in order to get away from this rain? Actually, no. I can go to Cold Harbor. Let's see if it's raining in Oblivion. Okay. I come to Cold Harbor here in Oblivion, and instead of raining all the time, it's snowing all the time. You know what? This reminds me of the offline Elder Scrolls games when my weather mods would screw up. And whenever my weather mods screwed up, I would always... It would just never stop raining or something. So... So anyways, Mr. Goodmain is obviously Templar. Obviously a Templar, and with that name I decided to go Breton this go-round, so emphasis on magic as opposed to health and stamina for tanking and melee DPS. But the idea that I've taken Mr. Goodmain in, and we should be able to fight some Daedra to demonstrate this, the direction I've taken this character in is, if you remember the Shakadins from World of Warcraft Burning Crusade, the Holy Paladins that went around blasting stuff with magic, well, this guy is like that, except he tanks too. Come here, Clanfear. We're hit him with the sword attack, which makes him more vulnerable to magic. Plunk! See ya! Of course, Daedra never really die. They just respawn somewhere. They get driven back to Oblivion. Oh wait! This is Oblivion! Right. Anyways, some people may object to tanking with a Breton because Bretons don't get health bonuses unlike, say, Imperials or Nords, but, you know, that's one of the cool things about this game, is that you can try all kinds of different stuff. Yeah, some of it is going to be more effective than others. Woo! Stunned. That's probably something from my champion points. Or better yet, for you WoW players in the audience, bada bing, Consecrate. Hurts the enemy, heals your allies. Didn't WoW have this at one point and it was taken out or something? It's been a while. But yeah, obviously influenced by the heydays of Burning Crusade, except instead of big burst damage, it's tankable type stuff here. And the reason why, of course, 33,000 resistance. And the way you can get that pretty easily, even without having a full set of heavy armor, is with the Fortified Brass set. Check this out. This came out with a Clockwork City DLC, and it adds a ton of resistance at the expense of giving up your set bonuses. The fun part is, heavy armor allows for passive resistance caps, so that all the damage you receive is basically going to be halved, and then your damage reduction in your talents and whatnot, or champion points, takes that down even further. But the fun part here with the fortified brass is that for the other armor types, I know for light armor, you can increase your resistance to the point where you cast the 5200 resistance spell, whatever your class has for that, and you can actually get up to the spell and the physical resistance cap and basically tank while the buff is up. Then you just make sure you keep recasting the buff until you're done tanking. So that's the cool thing. This game has a modified MMO trinity where people can jump in to the other roles as needed. So whether you're good at stamina or whether you're good at magicka, that determines what DPS you can do on the side. And there's also, of course, Resto Staff, the Restoration Staff, which actually anybody can equip and anybody can develop skill with. So if you need a healer in a pinch, you can just toss on a Resto Staff and you get Grand Healing, which is an AE heal over time, Regeneration, which is another AE heal over time that actually goes to nearby allies as well. So, Blessing of Protection, Steadfast Ward gives you a damage shield, and then there's Panacea. Is it Panacea or Panacea or whatever? Panacea. I don't know. I gotta check the dictionary, or I can ask. Nah. Well, can we get? I'll do the Google thing later. I don't want people's speakers going off in the middle of this gaming video. But yeah, there we go. A bunch of heal over times and stuff, but it lets you jump in and heal even if you don't have a dedicated healer. And there's also abilities that also buff your ability to help others out. So in terms of secondary healing, the Resto Staff is where it's at. You can also tank with Frost Staff as well, so you can have a build that is basically tank with sword and board until you run out of stamina, then switch over to staff until you run out of magic. Ah, here we go. Woo! That's the fun part about this Templar skill that I'm spamming, is that it cleaves. So pull groups of mobs and stuff. And for taunt, I have the one and only sword attack that I have on this guy. Basically the sword taunt. These are just little Banekins anyways. Well, bringing light to the darkness of Cold Harbor, Molag Bal's domain here in Oblivion. It's just took some getting used to when I first played this game, because Cold Harbor is blue, and the Oblivion that was in Elder Scrolls Oblivion was for Mehrunes Dagon, and everything was red. So this is less hellish and more like really cold, evil place or something. Hey, look, a cold flame Atronach. Gotta retcon that in somehow. Yeah! Ultimate attack gives me also Adric Spear bonuses as well. Wait, yep, flame Atronachs blow up when you destroy them. So the blue thing I'm doing actually increases spell damage. But it's a self-buff as opposed to debuffing the enemies. They take more damage from physical attacks and spells, which is, oh, Dramoras! Die, Dramoras! Consecrate! Well, what else do you call it? It's Ritual of Retribution, but I mean, come on. Big circle golden thingy that heals everybody in it and hurts enemies. What else do you call that? Consecrate!
Intruders!
Yeah, intruders, of course. Oh, Seducer. Let's make things more interesting. Death Judgment from above! Duplicates damage until the thing explodes and leaves a pool of healing stuff on the ground. Taking this into a dungeon is really fun for healing. Death from above! Die, Dramoras! Woo! Oh wait, one of them survived. That's not good. Death from above. Well, I suppose while we're running around randomly taking out Dramoras and stuff like, ooh, there's a bunch of them. Ah, Seducers actually. Boom! Hey, one of them's running away. That must be the caster healer. Probably does both. Woo! Stamina attacks don't hit for as much because this guy has a lot less stamina. He's a Breton, of course. But mostly I have the attack for the taunt and the debuff. Action combat, obviously. But of course I'm doing a lot of run and gun here because the reason why I am so obsessed with instant cast abilities like this is because when you're blocking, you can actually throw instant cast abilities from behind a shield. Notice how the icon's not going away, so I'm still blocking even though I'm pelting these folks with bolts of light. That's the way it is with tanking, and that's one of the things with 33,000 physical and spell resistance passive that I'm interested in doing, because I'm already at the cap to go tank. I just might be short on health. Could swap some enchants and change my Mundus Stone Blessing from 2,000 magic to 2,000 health. Having everything jacking magic through the roof right now is very much a healer type of thing anyways. Hey, speaking of classes, I suppose now's as good a time as any to mention. Classes in ESO are more like templates. So yes, I'm playing as a Templar, which basically means, woo, divine magic! So somewhere between a cleric or a paladin or whatever, depending on what kind of armor you equip. You can even be a Templar who wears medium armor and dual wields. That's the fun part. That's the fun part with all of this, is that you can make all kinds of characters and experiment with all kinds of builds. Some will be more effective than others. There is still tank, healer, and DPS when you go to query for a dungeon or queue for a dungeon. Sorry, I'm still in work mode. But just from choosing Templar, there's also Adric Spear, which is basically sun attacks and sun spear-ish attacks. Not related to the sun spears in Guild Wars, though. Dawn's Wrath is more casty type stuff for light abilities, as in, big light judgment whatever from above. Actually, I can bring in a cast time by putting Dark Flare on there. Yeah, notice how I can't block, though, in casting it. Of course, I can nuke him from afar, and when it crits, it goes into 5-digit territory. Not as good with heavy armor as it would be with light armor, but you basically can't tank when you're casting spells with cast times. So, instant it is. Reflective light, please? Woo! Yeah. Radiant Destruction down there is basically a giant holy laser beam. I don't really use it because it's a finishing move, and it kind of locks your animation so you can more easily be interrupted. Plus, it uses more magic than this cleave attack that I'm doing. I should probably mention that the cleave attack, this whole light bolt thing that I'm doing, actually is a damage over time. Plunk. Now, do your damage. Set them on fire with Divine Fire. Of course, I gotta do something and put some points into something. I gotta do something and put some points into basically the thing that upgrades your ability to do damage over time effects. I haven't done much with that yet, and a good chunk of the damage I do through this Consecrate, as well as this stuff right here, if you can see the the orange numbers that are showing up for dot damage, is damage over time. Yay! Gained a warrior point! And this is, of course, the leveling system after you hit max level in this game, which is 50. You basically go up like in Skyrim, and you put points in the constellations. Let's pick something here. Round and round we go. Oh yeah, Hardy Elemental Defender. Cool. Now, if I want to do more damage over time stuff, I've got the money to make the switch. So, direct damage. Yep, and that's for the staves and stuff. I could take it out of that and do... No, where was it? Nope, it's not here. This is for casting and stuff. I think it's over here. Yeah, Thaumaturge. There it is. Let's actually do that. Let's redistribute the points. I don't use staves as much as... What was that riposte ability? Oh yeah, it's just 3,000 physical damage when blocking. 15% chance every 5 seconds. So I want to kind of balance it out with this Master at Arms. So direct damage, and then let's put some points into Thaumaturge for damage over time. Opportunist. When you interrupt an enemy, your next physical damage deal... I don't do a lot of physical damage. That's the thing. So I can put stuff into here, but the bonuses I'll get from this ritual, from the ritual constellation, aren't as good for somebody who's more on the magic side of things. Weapon critical, not too good. Damage against off-balance enemies might be good when they attack, and I'm blocking, and I throw them off balance because they get stunned by the shield. Last Stand is definitely tanky, though. But that's the fun part here. Experimentation is very encouraged in this game. It's very encouraged in this game, as opposed to, say, cookie-cutter builds, tank, healer, DPS, like you'd find in a WoW or Final Fantasy XIV. So, have you folks had enough of Cold Harbor? Well, sounds like a plan. Let's go somewhere else. See if the rain stopped back in regular Tamriel. Check it out. Sunshine! Although it still looks kind of cloudy. Hey, something's going on over at the Abyssal Pearl over there. Let's go check it out. Graphics-wise, ESO has always been behind Skyrim, and not just Skyrim Special Edition either. The original Skyrim actually had better graphics than this. Come on, we're jumping over rocks and let's run on over there. The Abyssal Pearl, same as the Dolmens in the original game, which is also the same as the Oblivion Gates, sort of, in Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Nuts, I'm here right at the end of it. Or not! Let's have some fun! Looks like someone's already tanking. Well, we'll do some secondary healing by throwing down this Consecrate ability here. I don't have my tank staff, so the only thing I can block with is stamina. As opposed to the Frost Staff, if I equip that, I can use magic to tank. Kinda sorta not really sold on that, though, in terms of which kind of abilities I want to use for what. Spin the Lance! That Lance ability also boosts defense as well. So where'd the other tank go? Oh, over here, of course. Where's someone DPSing? Of course, this is world content, so not so much a big deal with group composition. Yep, there you go. See that priest-looking, Argonian over there with the tail? Sticking her staff in the air and it randomly heals people? That's Resto Staff in action. Woo! Where's the boss? Is that the next phase?
You thought you won, mortals?
Oh, look, another Breton-looking tank, huh? I'll take the monstrosity, even though I only have 25,000 health. Yep, another Templar, just not with the paladin-looking armor. Purify.
Is the night, and the night goes on forever.
Cha-ching! Goodbye, Abyssal Pearl. That's the interesting part, though, is compared to the Dolmens in the original game, I didn't really find the Abyssal Pearls to be all that interesting in terms of blending in with the lore. But to not spoil the story of the Somerset expansion pack, I'm going to leave that there. Graphics-wise, as I mentioned earlier, this game has always been behind original Skyrim, never mind the Skyrim Special Edition, which featured an upgraded 64-bit code base, as well as a substantially more modernized graphics engine to go along with that code base. So that game can really look awesome, and that's before mods. So the Skyrim Special Edition is actually something that kind of embarrasses ESO at this point. Although this game does run pretty well. Currently running it on Monolith in high mode. I will start dipping below 60 frames a second if I put everything in ultra mode. So I'm probably a graphics card from the looks of it here. A graphics card upgrade away from being able to just max the game out completely. If we look at the CPU usage in the technical readout, though, notice how there's an emphasis on just 2 cores, going substantially above 20% CPU. So a bit of an issue here, a bit of an issue with that. I'm also curious why the power on the GPU isn't maxing out. Although 60 degrees, is it being throttled thermally or something? I don't know. Anyways, but the 1974 megahertz looks about right for how fast the graphics card is going. So there's probably some other issues with the code in terms of maximizing the performance of this. I just know that Skyrim Special Edition just runs so much better. Hopefully one of these days, ZeniMax can bring over whatever made that game run so well over to here. Maybe upgrade the visuals as well, too. Because, yeah, Somerset looks pretty. This is an expansion, so the original game is a bit closer to the painting aesthetic that we see in Guild Wars 2. And just like that, peace has returned to Somerset, and Play Some Schtuff has returned to this channel. I shall now adjourn to footage of Lady Lockhart looking like a sissy healer, and then turning around and tanking a world boss. One of the interesting things you can do in this game. So yes, to keep things more to the point, I'm going to try and limit the scope of what these gaming videos are about, and we'll see how it goes from here. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay, signing off. Thanks for stopping by, and game on!